Welcome back to video number 2, and in this video we're going to be talking about Joe Rogan. I'm sure you guys remember the whole Harry and Meghan controversy with them, so let's jump in and cover this. You're going to love it. Let's go. Joe Rogan, you guys remember him? Anyway, he's got a new Netflix comedy special where he has a lot of stuff to say about Harry. Now, you know, he was a former Fear Factor host, and he had a lot to say. Here, let me just play you a little snippet so you know what's going on. Watch this.
Do you imagine doing mushrooms with Prince Harry? You imagine if you could trick that guy into doing mushrooms with you? If you see him chew it and swallow it, and you're like, oh, it's gonna happen. There's a moment when you do mushrooms, like 20 minutes after you swallow it, where you know you can't throw it up anymore. You know that moment? You're like, oh no, it's gonna happen. And you imagine that moment, you're sitting crisscross applesauce, just staring eye to eye with the prince, waiting.
And then he went on to say, here's the thing, mushrooms take 40 minutes to kick in, but about 35 minutes in, you hear them coming. You hear footsteps in the distance. He said, meanwhile, Prince Harry is tripping balls. And he said, I'm gonna cover over him and say, are you sure vaccines are safe? Because you are not a scientist. That was just one of the things he said. He said that he got canceled so often during COVID that sometimes he would find out by accident. Because remember, he had a Spotify show. So while he has this huge contract making all this money with Spotify, Harry and Meghan couldn't manage to put anything together. So he says, you know, this is a true story, and I'm quoting him. He says, one time I just woke up, I'm in my underwear, I plop down, turn the TV on, and Prince Harry is talking you know what about me. He said, I'm like, I just woke up, I'm vulnerable, I'm in my underwear, and there's a prince on TV talking about me. He said while he was trying to do a British accent, he goes, Joe Rogan is giving out dangerous vaccine misinformation. And his first thought was, wait a minute, I did? Now, for those of you who do not remember this entire debacle, back in April of 2021, after Harry and Meghan had signed their Spotify deal, they had put nothing out. Spotify was hiring producers to try to get them going. They came out publicly and said they were upset because Joe Rogan claimed that healthy young people didn't have to get a COVID-19 vaccine, even though the advice from the CDC and medical experts said otherwise. So in 2022, they decided they were going to call out Spotify. That's right, they called out Spotify, the people who gave them this contract and whom they had produced nothing for hosting misinformation via Rogan's podcast, The Joe Rogan Experience. Through an Archwell spokesperson, they said, last April, our co-founders began expressing concerns to our partners at Spotify about the all too real consequences of COVID-19 misinformation on its platform. We have continued to express our concerns to Spotify to ensure changes to its platform are made to help address this public health crisis. So during all of this, for those of you who may not have heard it, Neil Young removed his entire music catalog from Spotify, and so did Joni Mitchell. And what was Spotify's response? In February, they signed a $250 million deal with him and Spotify for the platform. So all of Harry and Meghan's blustering lets you know that they were not able to shut him down. They tried, but they were completely unable to shut him down. So at this time, and it was back in 2022, Rogan came out and said, listen, I'm not even mad at Harry. If I were him, I would have said the same. You know what? I get it. If I met the dude, I'd love to have a drink with him. And I would tell him, I'm not mad at you. In fact, I think if I lived your life, I would be you. And I think if you lived my life, you would be me. I think we're all one. Let's have a drink, relax. Let's have a couple of cocktails. Let's have a good job, a good time like most of us, right? And this was after Harry said that Rogan should just stay out of it, stay out of the whole COVID-19 thing, and said, you have a platform, and with a platform comes responsibility. That's something that, Harry might want to learn. Now, you have to wonder if Joe Rogan read The Spare. It looks like this was a drug dream, that he wanted to do. And now Harry's in the middle of this legal case because in The Spare, he admitted to taking all those drugs. And under U.S. law, those are grounds for a visa application to be rejected. We are still waiting to hear from the judge what is going to happen. And I'm going to digress for 2 seconds in case you're unaware. A former employee of Archwell apparently said that Meghan doesn't want him to do all of these lawsuits. She wants him to let them go and be free of all this because of everything he's been through and his love for her and the children. He can't. She wants him to live in the world where he's not burdened by all of this. Are you kidding? She's totally backing him doing this. Anyway, I digressed. Let's go back. I feel that the fact that Netflix paid him for this and put it up on their streaming platform shows that Netflix is about money and business and not personal, if that makes sense. Because if the head of Netflix loved Harry so much, he would never have done something like this. You know what I'm saying? Friendship is one thing, but business is business. And Netflix is in the business of making money. And let's face it, they didn't really do well. Their investment did not do well with Live to Lead or Invictus. Pearl got canceled. And their Netflix docuseries, Harry and Meghan's docuseries, got blown right out of the water by the Beckhams. Like it sank them. Now, you all should know a blind item came out saying that Meghan has been calling and emailing and texting Ted Sarandos, the head of Netflix, nonstop, and she's threatening to pull her ARO and all of her stuff because of this show with Joe Rogan. And the blind item claims that Netflix would actually be quite happy if she did because nobody else is going to buy them. And we are aware that I think Netflix is hoping this is their last hurrah, these 2 ridiculous shows that Harry and Meghan are putting out. We haven't heard a release date. Netflix has been silent. All the information coming from Harry and Meghan. So we don't know that Netflix is even going to air it. In the meantime, the royal family got their shots. Some of them showed them getting it on camera. Funny thing is, Harry and Meghan continue to advocate for the vaccine. Nobody has seen them get their shots. Nobody has seen them vaccinate their children. Nobody has seen a vaccine card. I'm not talking about giving out where they got it, who gave it to them. Just something that clearly shows that they're putting their money where their mouth is. So while they're telling everybody else to get the vaccine, nobody has seen them or seen any proof that they did. All right, you guys, you know what to do. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, hit the bell for all notifications, leave your comments, and then go down into the description box and hit the link for video number 3. Let's go.